So I was just doing some spring cleaning, or I guess winter cleaning of the office, happy workspace, you're more productive. And I decided to try and multitask because, with me and my schedule, it's typically pretty busy and my to-do list is never ending. So whenever I can do two things at once, it allows me to be much more productive. It allows me to feel like I'm accomplishing more. By the way, I guess I should have introduced myself. If you guys are new, my name is Akil Stokes. Welcome to the Trading Coach Podcast. Thank you for finding this show and this episode. Make sure you share it. That helps a lot for me growing this thing. I'm also a Forex trader and a trading coach over at tier1trading.com. If you are interested in becoming a better trader, learning how to overcome the obstacles that are keeping you from the success that you want, make sure you head over to the platform. Make sure you sign up for our 14-day trial. Make sure you take in all of the amazing free things that we have to offer. So while I was, multitasking, even though multitasking isn't a real thing, I was listening, trying to catch up to some of the videos that I watch on Real Vision. And I was watching this trading psychology series and a video from a guy named Dr. Alden Cass called Your Inner Athlete. And if you guys know anything about me, I love sports and trading comparisons. So, I had to click it. And what was interesting is he had said something that I had recently heard before. Now, maybe it's one of those recency bias things where I just shared it as one of my quotes of the day on social media, so the subject automatically popped out to me. But the topic was that in order to be, I guess, at your maximum level of success as a trader, you need to have a certain level of anxiousness. You need to have a certain level of frustration. And if you would have asked me this years back, my brain probably would have exploded. Like, what? What? No. We're teaching traders to, not trade with emotions. Don't be frustrated. Don't be angry. Those are anxious. Those are things that get you into trouble. And the truth is, right, we can't not, I know it's a double negative, don't judge me. We can't not trade without emotions, right? As a human being, unless we have some sort of complex, it is impossible for us to just say, boom, emotions go away for this period of time, then come back, right? We always have them. And I really kind of changed my message from trading without emotions to either controlling your emotions while you're trading or to not make trading decisions based on your emotion. Those are two different things. But going back to this idea that for a trader to be at their optimal level of performance, they need to be a little bit anxious. They need to be a little bit frustrated. What Alden said, or Dr. Cass said, he says, any complex task is better performed at an anxiety level or frustration level of around 5 or 6 out of 10. Anything above that, above the 6, is counterproductive for your overall performance. And he gave a great example of an athlete, right? When athletes are at their best, right, they're not kind of calm and relaxed and perfectly under control. They're kind of right. They've got a little bit of an edge to them, but they're not so kind of caught up on the edge that they get over frustrated and they start messing up. A good example is we talk all the time in sports about bulletin board material, right? So when a coach or a player from another team says something about your team and, that little bit, it may not even be anything serious, but that little bit of bulletin board material gets you kind of motivated and amped up, and you come into the game with an edge, like, well, I'm going to get this guy, I'm going to show him, or like we often see athletes that play better against teams that they were just traded from. So if an athlete were on a certain team and he got cut, he goes into that game against his former team with kind of an edge, like I'm going to kind of show this coach what he missed out on. So basically, it's kind of, at least my interpretation of it was, you're kind of getting up for the event. You're kind of getting up for the game. And I think back to my sports game, my sports career, and I would always hype myself up, right? I have music on, I bump my head against the wall. I'm out there pre-game, before the game, catching balls, looking good, just feeling myself a little bit. And that's how I got up for the game. And he mentioned that athletes often perform their best when they kind of reflect on their own highlight reel. And what that is, or what that means, is they basically feed their ego. They look back at the best things that they have done. And this is a practice that I also do when I'm training, right? When I'm in a workout, I typically work out by myself. When I'm in a workout, I visualize everything. I teach my athletes this as well. I visualize everything. I stand there at the line if I'm running a race, for example, and I start going through past races in my head. I pick my best race out. I remember exactly how I feel. I remember exactly what I wore. I remember the smells. I remember specific people cheering. I remember, sweat coming down. I remember noises I make, right? It's funny how when we have these very important moments of our life, we tend to remember every detail. Think of things like wedding dates. Think of things like, the first time you asked your significant other out, your first kiss, the first dinner date, right? I remember one of the first dinner dates I had that wasn't on campus was in a Fridays, and me and the wife were having a bubble blowing competition in, some Pepsi cups or something like that. But put yourself in that position where you're feeding yourself positive energy, getting yourself up for the game, and then you're typically going to perform well. However, you got to find that balance where if you kind of overthink it, if you psych yourself up too much, you may tip the scale, and then you're a little bit too emotional, and now you're out of control. And trading is the same way, right? Because we need confidence to enter a trade. And, our traders watch us trade here at Tier 1 Trading each and every day live, right? We call it the glass house, where Jason Grayston and myself, we come in, full transparency. You see everything we're doing. You see all the wins. You see all the losses, right? Everything. And they often see us show examples of a massive amount of discipline. I'm actually in a dollar Canada trade right now that I've been sitting in for 3 days. And we had a discussion this morning on, hey guys, we're sitting here. We got 40 pips on target 1. We went about, 7/8 of the way to target 2. We started reversing, took me from like 60 pips back up to only 40 pips, but I can't do anything. I got to just sit here and wait it out. And when we do that, they say, well, how are you guys so confident? How are you able to sit there and just execute it? I would be freaking out. I'd be losing my mind. And it's because we've put ourselves in that zone, right? We're really consistent in what we trade and how we trade. So when we look at the markets, we're essentially doing the same thing each and every day, at least in general. The different trading opportunities can differ, but the general analysis is the same. We've done the same thing every day. And when we're seeing these opportunities, they're doing nothing more than reminding us of previous opportunities. Now, this is where we have a choice. And this is going to be kind of the difference maker between successful and struggling traders, right? The struggling trader, and in general in life, we often remember our negatives more than our positives, right? Pain is kind of a more impactful emotion or whatever, or trigger, or whatever you call it, than pleasure, right? So a struggling trader will often look at a trade and they'll be fearful. They'll say, "Oh, I remember I had something like this 2 years and 3 months ago and it lost," right? They could have 10 of the trades that won, but for some reason they concentrate on that loser. And they're feeding themselves negatives. On the other hand, successful traders, we're feeding ourselves positive. We're feeding ourselves, "Ooh, I remember seeing this in my back testing. I know my back testing results were good. I can't wait to get this opportunity." Or, "Ooh, I remember a trade I had on this last week. Same type of setup, just at a different level. Ooh, I can't wait to get it." We're actually, instead of being fearful, kind of hoping that the trade doesn't happen, we're kind of hoping that it does. We want to get involved, right? It reminds me of school days where like the teacher asks a question and they're scanning the room and they're like, "Who am I going to call on?" And you know the answer, at least you think you do, but you have zero confidence. You're like, "Don't call me, don't call me, don't call me, don't call me, don't call me. Akil, damn it." Right? Instead of being that, we're the student where our hand is up like, ooh, call me. I know it. I want to get recognized. And it's because we're replaying all of the positive trades in our mind. We're getting up. Yeah, we're a little bit nervous because we never know what the outcome is going to be. Yeah, we may get a little bit frustrated as price action kind of just, nibbles away right before your entry but doesn't get filled. Yeah, we get nervous, we get frustrated, we get anxious to get involved. That's all part of it. But we don't let that get to a point where it affects our performance. We look at it as a positive. We're anxious because we want to get involved. We're frustrated because we haven't gotten involved yet, and we know that this is a good opportunity. We're not anxious to make a mistake or frustrated because of past performance. So it's a very interesting dynamic, and Denise Scholl said the same thing in another video that I listened to, either a video or in her book from a while ago, I remember. So it's kind of cool that I'm hearing this from two different perspectives, but they're essentially saying the same thing. And especially as an athlete, when I make that relationship, it certainly makes sense. So next time you're on the chart, guys, instead of kind of being fearful of the trade, right, go through kind of a visualization technique, right? Go through a kind of meditation type period where you close your eyes, you start feeding yourself good trades, right? Pick your last best trade, right? Pick your best trade, right? I know my best trade always stands out for me, New Zealand dollar, my game changer. I remember it like the back of my hand. But feed yourself that energy, kind of get up for the trading day, whether you're doing just top-down analysis in the morning or you're doing active day trading, for a set period of time. Get yourself up, get yourself excited to be in the markets, and see if that makes a difference in not your analysis and how you view opportunities, but how in control you are of yourself when those opportunities come to fruition.